Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah ma ba'd. Brothers and sisters, what we're going to do inshallah in this playlist is we're going to have a short series of mini clips inshallah discussing some of the areas where people will find perhaps problematic and some areas which need some more elaboration perhaps when it comes to some of the fiqhi rulings when it comes to Ramadan. And especially the fact that now we're in a plague and a pandemic, sometimes some of these things may be even more confusing and they may even need even more elaboration. So inshallah within this playlist we will have some masail and some rulings that we will inshallah discuss. One of the things that comes up every single year, and it's definitely going to come up this year, is the beginning of the month of Ramadan, the ending of the month of Ramadan. How do we determine that? And the correct prayer times. Which timetable should we follow? Now this is a disagreement and a difference of opinion and a point of confusion for a lot of Muslims on a regular basis in every single Ramadan. However, now we're in a plague and a pandemic, it might even become even more confusing for some people because they don't perhaps have access to the masajid. Now, there's a very important principle that we need to understand, which is that whenever there is a difference of opinion that has occurred at the time of the companions within the ulama of the madhahib, then it is very likely that that difference of opinion will never ever go away. So when we can understand that the Shafi'is, the official Shafi'i opinion is that they believed in something known as the ikhtilaf al-madali', which is that every single country should have its own viewing, then we will also then understand that there will be people until today saying that we need to have our own sighting in the UK or a sighting which is close to our region here in the UK, perhaps Morocco or France or something similar. So that is a valid opinion. Whereas the majority of the ulama have said one viewing is sufficient for the whole ummah. One viewing is sufficient for the whole ummah. And they based this on the fact that the Prophet ﷺ, when he saw the new moon, or when it was transmitted to him that we have witnessed the entry of the month or the exit of the month, he used to tell Bilal to announce the entry or the exit of the month, and that was sufficient for the people of Medina and sufficient for the people surrounding Medina. So the majority of the ulama have said one sighting is sufficient for the whole ummah, and this is what happened in the time of the Prophet. And to understand that even more, we have a statement that the Prophet ﷺ said, Sumu yawma yasumun, he said ﷺ, fast on the day everybody else fasts. Wal fitr, and the fitr is on the day when everybody makes fitr. So now, when we understand that statement of the Prophet ﷺ, we can also then understand that when we stick to one sighting and when the ummah has one entry and exit of the month, irrespective of what location they are in, then we can understand that the month is a month of unity, and it's a month of congregation, and it's a month of cooperation. And this seems to be the correct opinion, and this is the opinion that we've said of the majority of the ulama, the Hanafis and the Malikis and the Hanbalis, and others from the ulama who came later on. Therefore, like we've said, this difference of opinion is never going to go away. But what the ulama, including the Shafi'is who said that we should have our own sighting, have all agreed upon, which is that unity must be preserved. And what would happen in a normal orthodox situation is that the imam of the country, the ruler or the imam of the masjid in our scenario here, would be the one who dictates and who then makes the judgment, and he thinks, okay, well, I think this is the correct thing for us to do in order for us to preserve unity, for us to preserve cooperation and those and the real essence and the real flavour and the real spirituality of Ramadan then remaining intact. So this is something which is very important, which is that in the books of fiqh, yes, in an ideal situation, yes, you would have your own viewing perhaps, or you would have a difference of opinion and you would think that one opinion is stronger than the other. But practicality is very, very important. There is a big difference between what we understand from the books of fiqh and then how we apply them. And the ulama have said that there is a difference, that there is book knowledge and there is actual practical knowledge. So I would implore and I would suggest all of us that we use some hikmah and we use some knowledge, and we use our manners when we deal with these issues, and that we try and keep unity. And I would say, as a resolve for all of us, is to choose a masjid where we feel are basing their judgments and they're basing their opinions on what is sound and what is correct from the evidences from the Quran and the Sunnah. Because people will be stuck at home now and they might not have access to the masjid, or they might not have access to what the masjid is officially saying. So what I would say, for some people it's a lot easier, and obviously in the day of modern communication it becomes very easy for you to track your local masjid. For other people, stick to the jama'ah. For those people who can follow the masjid or not follow the masjid, stick to the jama'ah. And like we said, for some people it will be easy for them to follow their local masjid. For other people it might not necessarily be so easy. Then what they would need to do is look for who the jama'ah is, who is the main body of the Muslims, and stick to them. That's the first thing. The second thing is when it comes to the prayer times. Now, again, you're going to have difference of opinions, and again, you're going to have, especially in the month or the months of summer, where some of the ulama have said, Salatul Isha and Salatul Fajr is slightly problematic. But the answer to this, again, is for a person to follow the Jama'ah and follow who are upon sound knowledge and who have based their timetable upon what they think is correct and what they think is based on observation and what is based on knowledge. Now we find this as a precedence that has been set from the Salaf of this ummah. So to give you an example, Anas bin Malik, his son, narrates that Anas bin Malik radiyallahu anh, he used to have a servant, and he would instruct her to go out and look for the Salatul Maghrib. And when the Salatul Maghrib would be evident, when it used to be there clear on the horizon that the disk of the sun has set, he used to then tell her to come back in and let us know that Salatul Maghrib has now entered. And something similar has been reported from Ibn Abbas that he used to send out his children and his household and his servants, etc., and they used to go out on the roof, and then he used to say to them that whenever you see Salatul Maghrib, make the adhan. And then they used to make the adhan. The people below in the house would break their fast, and then everybody used to come in and break their fast together, and then they used to make the iqamah and establish the salah, and then we would pray with him, as Abu Atiyah narrated from Ibn Abbas radiyallahu anhuma. So from this we understand several rulings, especially in the situation that we are in the lockdown, is that they used to break their fasts at home, and sometimes they used to even pray at home. And there is nothing wrong with that, inshallah, especially in the situation that we're in. And we're going to, inshallah, discuss how to pray at home, and should they begin with eating first or praying first, etc., in a separate note, inshallah. But the point that we're learning from this here is that these companions, and the others as well, and we will talk about what they used to do and some of the benefits that we can learn from a fiqhi perspective from their habits and from their traditions. But from these two here, we can learn that they followed what was likely. They told their servant, they didn't go out themselves, they told their servant to look out for Salatul Maghrib, and when they thought something was likely, which was something which was based on something which is trustworthy, they accepted that as their prayer times. So this is what I would say to you as a summary. Entering into the month and exiting the month, entering into the month and exiting the month, follow a masjid which is trustworthy, which is based upon the Kitab and the Sunnah with sound aqeedah, and they have based their entrance and exiting of the masjid on observations and knowledge. And they understand that one of the key essences of Ramadan is based on unity and cooperation, and not dividing and hearsay and following of rumours, etc. That's the first point. And the second point is follow a timetable for your prayer times based on somebody, again, based on a knowledge-based masjid or a centre who have done some observations or are following the correct methodology of understanding this religion. And if there is a difference and you are still confused, then follow the understanding of the Salaf of this ummah. Follow what you think is likely. Follow what you think is likely. Now, don't condone that everybody goes out to their gardens and has a look for themselves, because not everybody knows what they're looking for, but some of it is quite obvious. If there is a timetable saying that Salatul Fajr has begun and it's really dark outside, or there's another timetable that says that Salatul Fajr begins at 3 o'clock or X time, and then 10 minutes later they can see that the sun is beginning to spread across the horizon and the sunlight is beginning to light up, then you can understand that is the one that is closer And then, inshallah, we'll be following the practice of the Salaf and what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala instructs us in the Quran, where He says, فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ مَسْتَطَعْتُمْ, follow and fear Allah as much as you can, and the ability that you have been given within the circumstance that you're in. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us iman and tawfiq, and that He allows us to reach Ramadan, and that we are upon goodness, and that we benefit from it, and that it is a freeing from the hellfire for us and all of the Muslimun. هذا والله أعلم وصلى الله على نبينا محمد.